Lately, we saw, I think day before yesterday, we saw some demonstrations, or rather some meeting that was disrupted by security forces in Nakuru at the Solai situation. Marian Nyambura is now in court in Nakuru County. Good morning, and Marian, if you can tell us about the preparation for those suspects to be presented before court, what should we be looking at when they are brought before court?
Good morning, Sam, really, and actually yesterday we got a report that there were not only 5 people who were arrested but actually 9, including the MCA Kabazi Ward, Dr. Peter Mbai. So we understand 9 people who actually yesterday appeared before resident magistrate Yvonne Katambi, but the prosecution side requested for 10 more days, or rather for the accused persons to be detained for 10 more days to allow for investigations. So really the 9 actually spent their second day in the police cells because on grounds that the ruling is set to take place today. So the resident magistrate Yvonne Katambi is just set today to meet with them and just make a ruling on whether they will be released on a bond or they will be detained for 10 more days. But joining me here is the lawyer Ngetich, who will just shed more light and tell us what exactly they are hoping to achieve at the end of the day. Thank you, Ngetich, for joining us. Maybe tell us, yesterday we had them appear in court. What do you expect today?
Thank you very much. Yesterday, when the prosecution and the investigating officers requested for 10 more days to detain Dr. Mbai together with 8 other suspects, we protested, we objected and said this was unconstitutional, because even as they were proposing to continue detaining and holding the suspects for 10 days, there was no specific offense that had been brought, even if it was in a holding manner, for purposes of allowing the court to allow them to take plea. There was no plea being taken. What they were only asking was sweeping orders for 10 more days to be detained. We objected and said this was not only unconstitutional, but this was also a case of abuse of police power and an attempt to use the court process to sanitize and to give credence to politics of the day, which we think are actually the center stage. We did actually argue before Honorable Yvonne Katambi, that is the resident magistrate who is handling this matter, that the only offense that the MCA together with the 8 accused persons may have committed was to champion for compensation of the victims of the Solai Dam tragedy. And this morning we are expecting Honorable Yvonne Katambi to issue a ruling on whether or not the detention for 10 days would be allowed, or the accused persons or the suspects would be released on bond, which we requested should be free bond, because apart from the MCA, the 8 other suspects are victims of the Solai Dam tragedy. They absolutely have nothing. They lost everything last year. Their only problem is being poor people who are pursuing compensation, and we really hope that justice would be done and the rivers of justice would flow towards their direction this morning.
Kindly tell us, does this case, or rather pose we understand that over 400 victims wanted to be compensated and they wanted to come to court. So does this case really pose that?
Thank you very much. The very reason why actually the meeting was stopped by the police is there was going to be a meeting between the MCA as the lawyers for the victims and Kenya Human Rights Commission. What we were going to do in that meeting was to inform the victims that, having generated demand letters for specific individuals, who are about 600, not 400 really, having issued demand letters and negotiations having collapsed, the only thing that we were going to do was to file specific claims, specific constitutional petitions for specific compensations for the specific 600 victims of the tragedy. Of course, this case will not stop our pursuit for justice. Article 48 of the Constitution guarantees the right to access justice. Article 49 provides for a right to a fair hearing. So we hope that whatever they do, whatever is going to be done, whether they are going to face criminal offenses, whether they are not going to face them, they are going to file specific constitutional petitions from next week in pursuit of compensation. And this is what the MCA has been pursuing. If you look at an article that he penned down about 3 days ago, he was saying the victims are yet to be compensated. That is his only offense, pursuing compensation for the victims of the Solai Dam tragedy.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, Sam. The Ngetich, who is a lawyer, just saying that they are hoping that justice will prevail. And now we also understand that all these issues came up as a result of the Solai demonstration, or rather the Kenya Human Rights Commission wanted just to have a meeting with the Solai residents to bring forth their cases and their ideas about what the compensation plans. So really, we will just keep an eye here and continue to keep you and our viewers up to date in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you, Sam.
Okay, Marianne, you might have referred to it, but just clarify, when these victims are looking for compensation, is it from the owners of the Solai dams or is it from the government?
Well, Sam, what we understood when we went to the field is that they were actually seeking compensation from all sides. So the national government, the county government, as well as the Patel owner, Patel, or rather Mansukh Patel. So what we understand right now is that they're actually seeking compensation from all ends.